So good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to CTE Month and our presentation today. James, next slide. All right, here we are. Hello. Welcome back to February. Go ahead, James, next slide. And just our meeting norms that we always have. If you can mute your mic when you're not speaking, use the chat feature. Myself, James, and Megan are all here and all moderating that. We'll keep an eye on that. And just be mindful of your background if people are in the room and coming by or going by. The bit.ly, if you want to follow along with the presentation, just have it for later, is right down here on the bottom of the slide. Also a QR code that will take you to the slide presentation as well, the slide deck. And we will include that in our recap that we send in a couple days as well too. James, next slide. There we all are. And the three of us are here, and Melissa should be along shortly as well too. And what we've got a lot to talk about to start off today is the fact that it's CTE month, what we're doing to celebrate it and recognize it and share it with others and give you an opportunity yourselves to talk about that as well too. But first, James is going to take you through a little bit of new tech for us. It's something called Slido. So James, next slide, and I'll let you take it.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. So February, CTE month, Black History Month, we have Valentine's Day coming up. So with that in mind, let's have a little fun. What do you want to rank as your favorite Valentine Day or romantic movie? And I have something called Slido. It's a pretty cool tech that you could use on either an app or you could use it as through your browser. And the nice thing about it, it can connect to any presentation that you want. There's a paid version and a free version. I'm just using the free version, and you can do a lot of things with this free version. So if you want, I went ahead and added a link, and so did David. So either go to slido.com and enter the number 710-7958. You can either click on the link there or use your phone to participate, and I'll show you what that looks like. And so far, Friday the 13th is one of our favorite romantic movies. You guys have really good taste. Princess Bride is tied. So let's see, who else do we have here? We got 50 First Dates. We got Dirty Dancing, For Weddings and a Funeral. Okay, now this is starting to become a race.
Yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with this, this is asking you to rank these movies. You're going to,
yeah.
And if you want to change your mind after you did it, you can edit your responses too.
It's live. Here's what's interesting so far. Princess Bride looks like to be #1 so far. In the morning session, Friday the 13th beat out Princess Bride. It was 9th place, and Princess Bride was in 10th place, which I was shocked. So we got West Side Story tied with The Notebook, Sleepless in Seattle, For Weddings and a Funeral. Friday the 13th is 5th place. We got some demented people here. Thank you. Dirty Dancing so far. Okay. We have 8 people that are participating right now. So what's nice about Slido is you can see how many people are participating, how many are live right now, ranking as we speak. And again, you can change your mind as you go along, which is the nice thing about this. With this free version, you can also go ahead and add it into your presentations as far as Google Slides are concerned, or even with your Microsoft PowerPoint. It's a really nice tool. And all you'd have to do is just download one of the add-ons to your browser if you want to do it that way. And then you have the app as well, which is pretty nice. Okay, so far, still have 2 people ranking. Okay, 1 person. So far, Princess Bride is #1, #2, The Notebook, and #3, Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts Baby in a corner. Friday 13th, I'm disappointed, guys. It's 9th place. In the Heights, 10th. West Side Story, Sleepless in Seattle. Okay, so good fun with Slido. If you want to play around with it, again, There's a free and a paid version. I'm just using the free version. You don't have to pay for it. And it's a pretty decent thing you can use with meetings, your students. You can also do live quizzes on this. You can do multiple choice. You can kind of play around with it and do short answer. A lot of really nice things you can do with this. If you want some more information on Slido, reach out to me and I'll show you how it works. And I'll probably go through a little bit of that on our next poll. Okay, thank you guys. And again, the winner, Princess Bride.
That is really interesting because Princess Bride was 10th this morning.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Okay. So February is CTE month. We're celebrating CTE. We want to promote CTE. And one thing that we heard before from California Department of Education is they wish they promoted CTE even more. So we need to tell everybody, shout to the rooftops, all the great things that you guys are doing in your classrooms. What are your teachers doing? What are you doing? What are your students doing on campus? So what are some ways to promote CTE month? Well, shout out to the rooftops to not just CTE teachers, but your English teachers, your history teachers. Maybe plan something together. Work with some type of lesson plan or some type of hands-on experience that they can work on. I know in the past they had welding has been working with the math class to come up with their plan for welding, and in welding there is math involved, so two classes work together. Inform the public what CTE is. Most people just think of CTE as the brain injury thing that football players tend to get, or any athletes. Well, career technical education, shout out to the rooftops. Let parents know. One thing I've heard numerous times is a lot of parents didn't know that their students or their children were actually in CTE courses, learning things like welding or digital video production or medical assisting, and they were shocked, especially with the amount of jobs that are out there, these high-paying, in-demand jobs. Let your business partners, your community partners, your government representatives, the mayor of your local city, your local congressman, let them know what's going on with CTE. Have them promote it as well. One way you can do that, especially if you don't have a relationship necessarily with these people, is tag them on social media. Find out the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook tags of your local representatives, Disney, Pixar, Tesla, you name it. Tag them on these feeds, and you'll be surprised on how many times I've heard a lot of our teachers say they wound up getting they built a relationship with these companies because they were finding out what we were doing. Guest speakers come out of this, advisors come out of this for your advisories. So one way you could do this also, testimonials from your students, from parents, from your teachers. Introduce the teachers, pictures and video. Who is your social media person if it's not you on your district? Share that information with that social media person. Have them post that stuff for you weekly, daily, every other day. Promote the good things that you're doing in your campus. Flyers, newsletters, emails, any type of resources. If you follow us on CTE Teach on our social media feeds, I try to put up as much resources that you guys can use, and I try to find as much free resources for you. So it's a great thing to share with your teachers, your students, and your mentees. There's a bottom, on the bottom, there's a link which will repeat right here, and you'll have access to this as well in the link. And that basically will have some ideas of how you can promote CTE month on your campus or your school or your classroom. And I'm leaving a link right here for you, which is for careertech.org, where you'll find a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about. And you got two resources right there. And that will be something that we'll also share with you on the follow-up email after all this is said and done. So Your meetings, your board members, let them know what's going on in your campus. Let your administrators know, invite them to the classroom, let them see what's going on. If you have something going on, hands-on training, have them, invite them over, let them be a guinea pig, especially for blood pressure checks or anything of that nature. So we have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Those are a lot of your major social media. Businesses tend to use Twitter the most. So do most politicians. Not a lot of students. Some students do. But if you're looking for business partners, start looking into what their Twitter tags are, and then start tagging them into your social media, or whoever is in charge of your social media posts. Instagram, a lot of younger people tend to use that because that's more visual. The better visuals that you have, video, pictures, shorter the video, the better. And then you have Facebook, which is generally for most local businesses and parents and mostly older people. But the thing is, shout it to the rooftops on all those feeds if you have to. We have YouTube. YouTube, you want to, if you have any videos of students in action, put that up on your YouTube page and then share that link on your social media feeds. Put that in your newsletters, put that in your flyers and so on. And by the way, all these pictures that you're seeing on these slides are actual Colton-Redlands-Yucaipa ROP students in action throughout the last couple of years. So you're actually seeing this stuff in action. You're seeing them either on field trips, you're seeing them working with guest speakers and so on. These are the types of pictures you want to see. And the thing is as long as you have a photo release, you would basically you can use an iPhone and just share that out. Oh, we have a question right here from Karen. I would like to hear how you are managing photo releases with social media. So we actually have a contract that we have in which the parents, when any of our students start one of our CTE classes, we have an agreement in which the student sends that to the parents. Parents sign off for any photo release for social media. If for some reason you do not get that signed, then you try to get that student not to be in the picture, or the work around it is you can cover their face with, say, a mask, since we have COVID going on, or back of heads. So if you do the back of the heads, you can get really creative with that. You could also blur faces if you have to, and you could do a lot of this either on a website, which you could do it for free. I can provide resources on that. You can also do that on your iPhone. And that's a really great way to get the pictures out, but not necessarily mess with any privacy issues or concerns. Okay, and the same goes with the video too. Here are some hashtags to use for CTE month. Hashtag CTE month, career tech ed, proud to be CTE, CTE Works, and Career Technical Education. All you need is one of those. If you can put more, that's great, but you want to save those. Since you're, like, for example, Twitter, you're only limited to a certain amount. Instagram, you can have a few more characters than normal. Facebook, you can go on a whole chapter on that. Steal some facts and put that together. If you don't have any pictures, steal some CTE facts. Here's a few that I just found on that on the links that I just shared with you guys earlier from careertech.org. So steal some of these and put them about as a post. So grad rate for CTE concentrators, about 95%, 10% higher than national average. CTE students, they really love the real world experiences, and it helps them to understand academic classes, especially as they head to college, if they decide to go to college. Students who completed CTE courses had higher test scores that either equaled or exceeded their college prep peers. So take this, steal it, put it into your messaging, into your newsletters, your flyers. Let the parents and everyone know what's the great things that you guys are doing. Shout it to the rooftops. Here's a sample post that I put together. And again, a lot of these videos and things I did them on my iPhone. transferred it into an iPad, did a lot of the editing there. I mean, you could just do a lot of things. In fact, have the students do it. Make that an assignment and have the students promote CTE for you, and just reap those benefits and have them have your social media person post that stuff. So on the left, you have an example that actually led to a video in which one of our teachers was promoting the animation class, his background in animation, and the types of things that students would learn. And notice that I also tagged Disney Studios and Pixar and a lot of our CTE partners. The nice thing about this is one of our teachers did this and was able to get somebody from Pixar and Disney to be guest speakers via Zoom that way. So it's a great way to build a relationship via social media. On the right is an example of an Instagram post, and we're promoting our medical assisting students. And great way to start building that relationship and your followers, especially with comments and likes. On the left, we have an example of a Facebook post. Again, with Facebook, you can add a few more characters. You can write a whole paragraph, but shorter the better. So in this case, one of our fashion marketing teachers told me about a student that actually sent them an email, if I remember correctly, and I basically copied that email, taking away any full names. So basically use the first name. And I just went ahead and quoted that email. And this student was so excited and was grateful for her teacher. So I thought that was great. And on the right is an example of a YouTube video that I created to promote CTE Month, taking all the classes, bits of video here and there, and just putting it together. And I actually have an example of that video. So this is about a minute long, doesn't have to be very long, and you can just kind of share that out with everyone.
But I don't want to like
And again, this was just a bunch of videos that I took with my iPhone, transferred it over to my iPad, and was able to edit and add music to it as we went along. It doesn't have to be anything special. And I have a student testimonial. So this was during the pandemic. I asked one of our CRY-ROP student ambassadors if they would say a few things. We did it through Zoom, recorded the Zoom session, and basically asked, what does CTE mean to you? And he basically went all out to tell us his experience. And Ernesto was one of our pride and proud CTE ROP ambassadors. So this is how it goes on here.
I think one of the best things about ROP and CTE teachers is that they not only teach from their knowledge, what they learned in school, but they teach from their experience working in the industry. And it brings a unique perspective for their students, for our students, when we come into their classroom, because we get the firsthand experience and knowledge about what's going on in the industry, and we get to keep up with what's going on. So thank you, teachers, for being so amazing and for giving us that different and unique perspective as students.
And in the initial email that David sent you, you had, I believe he put in a lot of the different various CTE logos, CTE month logos. So take those, put them up, use them to your advantage, and you can. Doesn't have to be a nicely edited video. It could just be something short and sweet, and you can just share everything with our business partners, with anyone who's interested in CTE, and it's a really great way to promote CTE month. But does it have to stop at CTE month? No, it could be all year long. Any questions on this so far? If you're not familiar with social media or how it all works, I actually have like a social media for dummies that CTE Career Tech put together, and it's a really nice thing. It's geared towards CTE month, but you could use it for anything really. It's a great way to build up partnerships and to get followers and to get the parents involved, because most parents are on social media, so, and the students, so what a great way to do that. Oops. So, question for you all. How will you promote CTE and or your industry sectors this month? So I know October is manufacturing month. So I know a lot of people tend to promote the manufacturing in that month, but does it have to be that month? It could be CTE month. It could be any time, really. Yeah, Janine, I'll get that for you. I'll make sure in the follow-up email that we'll send that out to everybody. And if you want it, it's there. I want to make sure that everybody gets a lot of resources. So let's do another Slido. And here we go. And if you want to go ahead and go to Slido, I went ahead and put that in the chat, so did David. You can click on the link or go to Slido and enter 957-6215 or use your phone in the app. This one's going to be a short answer, so, or a long answer, however you want to do it. So go ahead and let's get to the live feed. Tell us, how will you promote CTE month and industry sectors? Give you some ideas, but is there something that you're doing now? Something that you always do? Maybe this is not new information to you. Anything that you're doing. I see Michelle put outreach during student visits from middle schools. Yes, that's a good one. Our school is interviewing students and teachers and posting on Facebook and Insta. Yeah.
And James, just earlier, Alex put in the chat, we put the CTE logo in our email signature for the month of February.
Awesome. I'm assuming the school interview, is that like a mock interview? I'm assuming that's a mock interview. We're creating a series of CTE posters that will be hung at the district office along with a student art show. Awesome. Skills USA. Yeah, great way. Any CTSOs going on, put that out there. Future Freshman Night, promote CTE. Feature CTE teacher on our daily school-wide Zoom meeting. Great. That's a great idea. Social media. I've incorporated technology. Record CTE assignments. Awesome. Monrovia High School Med, Instagram. Yeah, you'll notice a lot of your CTSOs or your clubs or even some of your teachers probably already have a social media page for their class, and they're just kind of putting up stuff there. By the way, steal that stuff, retweet that stuff, copy and paste it into your post, and take that stuff and give them the credit. Most of the time, the teachers and the students will probably do the work for you. Just copy and paste or retweet.
Show them what.
I'm sorry? Oh, okay. All right, school tours. Yeah, field trips are a great way to promote CTE. School newspaper doing the story on CTE. Awesome.
James, I was slow on technology. Basically
Yes.
reporting out on competition. I tried to get in there and it didn't take it, but we're competing this weekend, and that'll be reported out to the community.
Awesome. And let's see. Have the webmaster put CTE month on front page of the web. Yeah, there we go. And by the way, notice on Slido, it starts to put on the very top the most used wording that comes up as a theme. So school, class, and student. So one thing great about this site is that you can use this as a poll. You can use this for your meetings. You could see a common theme, and that could be something you can add for future slides and so on. And the great thing about it is that, again, I'm just using the free version of Slido. So again, slido.com. All you have to do is just create an account. That's it. And you can have access to these slides. In fact, I believe you're limited to 2 or 3 slides, but as long as you delete one, you can always continuously keep creating slides to add into your presentations, which is really nice to do. Any questions on this so far? On Slido? Again, when David sends a follow-up email, you'll have the links and resources to all the stuff that we're sharing with you guys.
James, and we showed them 2 versions today, the ranking and the short answer, but there's other stuff, right?
Yes, you could do word clouds. You could do an online quiz. You could do a basic, not just a ranking, but you could also add more things where you can have them add something to create their own ranking. So it's very engaging. It's very informative, and basically you can have fun with it. And this picture, by the way, was just a generic picture that the actual site finds for you. So you could do a search for certain pictures. In this case, I looked up career technical education, and then I started to narrow it down to something like construction or manufacturing, and I came up with this picture, and it throws it right into my slide, which is pretty nice. You could also upload your own pictures, but that would require the paid version. But you can get pretty good pictures with what they have on the search engine. So it's pretty decent. Okay. And David, it's all yours.
And before I start on this, I'll say I'm seeing a lot of great things already in this first 7 days of February. It seems like people are off to a real early start with CTE month and promoting their classes and their LEAs and their schools. And give yourselves a pat on the back, give yourself a round of applause, because some of it's coming from the room and from this morning as well too. And just really great ideas to share with each other. I appreciate it. And we can share those with you when we send out a recap as well to the morning ideas and the afternoon ideas. I wanted to spend a little time talking about an important part of CTE Teach in your job as mentors, and that's conducting non-evaluative teacher observations, whether that be a walkthrough or an observation, and to talk about those for a minute or two. Walkthroughs themselves are meant to be just a quick little glimpse into what's going on in the classroom, see how things are going. As I say in the notes here, a short 2 to 5 minute visit that just give you a snapshot of what's going on. It's not disruptive to the instructions. It's seamless. Sometimes students don't even know that it's happened. Afterwards, say something about that person that was in the room. Like, what person? Historically, maybe in the past, observations were done a lot on paper, notes, but we've definitely moved into an electronic age. So maybe some of you are utilizing phones, tablets, laptops, things like that. But on the right is a sample of an eval form or walkthrough form, just a little check off. If you need it, it is available in the link below where it says classroom walkthrough form. If you have a district form or an LEA form, I suggest you utilize that because it will be directed towards your LEA or your class or your school. But if you need another resource, there is one here. And information about non-evaluative teacher observations or walkthroughs is in the CTE Teach Mentor training modules, and there's a chapter on walkthroughs. Observations, we know them as the more in-depth, where we're observing an entire lesson. You've made an appointment with the teacher knows you're coming in, the teacher's got a prepared lesson plan that they're sharing with you. You are observing how the lesson flows, how it's delivered, what the student's response is to it. And also giving feedback to the teacher afterwards as soon as possible. And it's also helping prepare the teacher for a formal observation that they're going to have from administration. So the whole idea is to improve their teaching skills, to give them an opportunity to test and try and have some feedback on it. You're there working with the teacher. You're a team. You want to help them succeed and develop those teaching skills. Again, use your district or LEA forms when they are available. There could be specific things on there, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Same thing here. We have information in the CTE Teach Mentor training about observations. There's a chapter on observations there. So this information I'm going to discuss on the next slide are from that. James, go ahead to the next slide. The observation itself and giving feedback. Think about your first year's teaching when you were having observations done. I know I, when possible, would pick my best class, my most well-behaved class, the class that was going to participate and take part and put me in my best light. You've already developed it as a mentor, that relationship with your mentees, and you can communicate with the teacher about your future observation, what's coming up, when you're going to be there to do the observation. Schedule it with enough time that they know you're coming. You will have met with the teacher beforehand or emailed them so they know what to expect. There's a video in the CTE Teach Mentor about that. You'll observe the lesson and take notes, recapping positive things. Keep an eye out for positive things. What's going well? What's working? I'll pause on that. But also notice things that to be worked on, to be developed, to improve on. That feedback is the most important. So if you can give them feedback as soon as possible, if you happen to schedule it when they have a prep period next maybe, or at the end of school, that could be a great opportunity to give them the feedback quickly. I like to, when I'm doing that feedback, I like to ask them what they think they did well and what they could improve on. Sometimes the interview question is, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? I don't form it that way. I'll say to them, what are your strengths and what are your areas to work on? It's just more positive than weaknesses. It identifies that we all have things to work on as a child, as an adult, throughout our life, and we know we're aware of it and we're working on them. So I've always done areas to work on. One thing, you could use the sandwich model where you're giving compliment, then constructive feedback, and then a compliment. And one thing that Melissa is going to, I think, have to trademark is mentorio. So imagine the words mentor and the word Oreo, mentorio. So the cookies are the positive and the sticky stuff in the middle is the stuff to work on, mentorio. James, remind me, I should be sending Oreos or something. Afternoon snacks.
Usually the middle is the best part though. That's the thing.
For me, it's the cookie. And no double stuff. No double stuff.
Actually, just to go what you were talking about, when I was teaching my pharmacy tech class, I had the class split down the middle. So I had tables on the left and the right side, and then I had a walkway right in the middle because we had like a lab all around it. And one thing I learned when I had a walkthrough and an observation is I was told that I tend to look at the right side of the class more than I did the left. And I didn't realize I was doing that. And it was that bit of constructive criticism. And I was like, I don't do that. And they said, yes, you do. So then I had to really think hard. And I was like, wow, I'm right-handed. So I automatically, my brain went to the right side of the class when I would look them in the eye or even ask questions. So that was something I had to really look into and then learn to go to my left. So I just thought that was interesting. It was just something that I just didn't know I was doing. So somebody brought it up. So I thought that was interesting.
Interestingly enough, I don't think you do that anymore. I've never noticed that.
No, it was something that always been on the back of my mind.
Interesting. Okay, carrying on. James and I will look into that tomorrow. Thank you, James. Perfect timing. Some things for when you're observing. What are you looking for? Well, the classroom setup. Are rules posted? Is that important to your LEA? Is the room organized? Does it bode well for learning, for understanding, for calmness? Is student work displayed? Procedures followed in the classroom? Does the class kind of operate on its own. People know where to go, what to do. That's important. Skipping down to organized and structured lessons. Is there an opening? Is there a natural close? Does it wrap up? Engaging, challenging instruction. It's not too general. It's at least challenging for the students, but it's not too difficult that they're not understanding it. Engaging, challenging instruction, teaching strategies. What strategies is the teacher utilizing? How are they engaging the students? How are they welcoming them into the lesson? Students' reaction to the lesson. What's the level of engagement? Are students interested? Are they paying attention? Are they part of the lesson? Are they sharing the lesson with each other? So on the left-hand side of the screen here, this observation look fors is an infographic. And then at the bottom of the screen here, what to look for in observations, that will connect to an article. And this infographic is part of that article as well, too. So some takeaways for you. James, next slide. Let's think about the teacher and think about your first observations as well, too. Anything you can do to prepare the teacher for that formal observation so that they're more at ease. This is practice for them, and that's the great thing about it. This is non-evaluative. You're giving them pointers to get them through. So, but some good tips for teachers. Make sure the lesson is prepared. They know what they're going to speak about. It fills the time. There's things to keep students involved. Think about the setup of the classroom. To James's point, the right and left side of the room. Make sure technology is working. Have backups for technology. We have a neighboring district, or one of our districts this week, which is without Wi-Fi. So if that's going to happen, what's the backup for that? Catering to all levels of understanding, differentiating the lesson, having opportunities for students to have some differentiated learning. Do they need more help on something? The same thing that I mentioned on the previous slide, actively engaging students. Students are involved. Opportunity to go through and check for understanding. Are students getting the point of the lesson? Are they gathering the information and getting what you intend for them to get out of it? Most importantly, just relax, have fun, enjoy the opportunity. Same thing here at the bottom of this slide. There is an article that you can share with your mentees about tips for acing your teacher observation. And I think the more you talk about it and share with them, the more important it's more helpful it's going to be for them. One thing I didn't mention, I skipped over, you know probably what your LEA is looking for, what your administrators are looking for. Share that information with them. What's going to be important to them? Questions or tips you'd like to share with others? If you'd like to go ahead and unmute, or if you want to put something in the chat. Anything working particularly well with observation or walkthrough?
Early on, I gave my my teachers just a blank copy of that classroom walkthrough. And I said, when your administrators are coming in, this is what they're looking for. And I explained all of those to them and said, okay, where is this now in your classroom? And that helped them. And I've noticed that they're doing better as time went on. But I gave them a blank one and said, this is what they're going to be looking at. And these are important things to your admin. They appreciated that.
Great point, Janine. Great point. Definitely.
Yeah, I
Jim.
want to echo that. I didn't think of giving them a blank one, but I did. I haven't actually done the walkthrough yet, but I kind of prepped them for it, and I basically easing their mind that like this is just practice. I'm just here to help you be a better teacher. I'm not reporting anything, and so they're like. Because otherwise they get all kind of freaked out that like, oh, what is this all about? And it's
We
like,
all do.
And I think that's a really good idea to sit down with the blank copy and just say, hey, this is practice for when they actually come to observe you. So I'm giving you the secret tips, kind of thing, right? To really make them realize, hey, this is helping me this is not somebody I should be afraid of. So I think that's a really good idea.
You're totally right. I like that. The secret tips.
So David, Michelle is saying, informal meeting, first meeting with coffee to talk with mentee and make her more comfortable talking to me and working with me. We now do this bi-weekly as check-ins.
Great,
As well.
Michelle. Yeah, building that relationship first. Absolutely. James, let's move on. So on the mentor logs, we've got first quarter in, hopefully, and I know some of you are still working on that, and that's okay. James, let's go to the next slide, and I'll show you a couple things we're seeing and some things that can help you. James mocked up this one here. Reporting period, quarter 2, was submitted in January. And then, so all of these items are falling within that quarter 2 between November 1st and December 31st. If you're getting into third quarter things after January 1st, start them on a new log. Make a copy of the one that's in your Google folder and then start one for quarter 3. And then, for example, this second line here, 11.9, mentee training and support, who you supported and what you did. Give a brief description of what you did, what the mentoring was. When it comes to the hours, they're on a like a quarter system. So 0.25 on the log would be 15 minutes or a quarter of an hour. 0.5 would be a half hour. 0.75 would be 3/4 of an hour or 45 minutes. There's a little math, a little business math, the clock math there. And we are going through them. If there's something we're questioning or if we need more clarification on, we're highlighting it in yellow. And honestly, mostly what that has been things from the wrong quarter, like things from third quarter on a second quarter log. And then when I have been able to look at them and they're all good, I put my initials up here in this submitted on. So it would still have the date and then it would have DA. So if you want to look back at those and have any questions on those, you can check those out.
David,
Yeah, James.
just as a reminder, in case you don't have access to the log in the shared Google folder for your district, please send us an email and we'll get you that access if you don't have that access. We'll make sure you'll have that access. And basically, take that form, create a copy, put your name on it and what quarter, and then put in your information, and then repeat the steps for the next quarter and so on. So this way, that specific folder will be yours. And then the other blank copy, someone else can do the same thing. If you need help with that, please let us know and we can help you out with that.
Yeah, and James mentioned email, phone call is totally fine as well too. Not a problem. Glad to take those. James, next slide. We have got a little wrap-up information here more than anything. We're here at February 7th and CTE month. We'll be back for another webinar on March the 7th. Next slide, James. In the meantime, at the end of this month, James and I will be at Educating for Careers. We're doing a presentation on Monday, February the 27th during session 3 called If You Don't Feed the Teachers, They'll Eat the Students. And some of that may appear in March as well too. And hopefully we will see some of you in Sacramento. If you are there, please stop by, say hello. We'd love to meet you in person. James, next slide.
We had a question that came up earlier in the morning where someone asked, could we put in the log hours, the Education for Career Conference? That's a really good question. The conference is what, 2-3 days? It's an all-day thing. We would allow a login if it's something CTE Teach related. So for example, if you happen to be in Sacramento and you're going to the conference and you actually attended our presentation, you can log those hours in, but you can't log in the entire day as your mentor login, if that makes sense. I don't know, anything else you want to add, Dave, to that?
No, that's good, James.
Okay.
And you know, on the mentor logs, Jim asked, have you taken the last quarter hours and sent a stipend to our schools? So those stipends, Jim, come at the end of the year. Some LEAs will pay out during the year, but the stipend from CTE Teach and CTE comes at the end of the year. Next slide, James. As always, please like, follow, and subscribe to our social media. We follow back as well, too. And a little mentor moment here from Whoopi Goldberg. We're here for a reason. I believe a bit of the reason is to throw little torches out to lead people through the dark. Good point. Good point. So in wrapping up today, type in chat something you learned to share with your mentees. If there are any questions, please let us know. Feel free to unmute and or type in the chat. But that concludes our program for today. I don't know where the time went, James.
And if you have any questions, David and I will be here at the end if you want to talk to us as well. Great resource on slido.com. Great. Yeah, play around with it, guys. It's free. You know, you don't need the full version. Slido is a really good tool. And all you have to do is install the add-ons into your web browser to put that into your presentations. Or you could use the app, however you want to do it. I didn't even use the presentation mode. I just went ahead and opened up 2 separate browsers and just put it in that way by sharing it with you guys. You can play around with it as much as you can, and it's a pretty good tool. Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You're welcome.
Reach out to us if you need us. Take care.